व्यक्तं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्ते ताप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वांशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं। हरि ओम तत्सत्। All right, so we will start. So as you know, we've been discussing the 10 vices and which are represented by the 10 heads of Ravana: Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsarya, Ahankar, Manas, Buddhi and Chit. So far we have done Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsarya, Ahankar and Manas. Today we are going to do Buddhi and Chit. Buddhi is the intellect and the Chit is the will. Basically, there are multiple meanings of Chit. Somewhere in Bhagavad Gita it is mind, somewhere it is consciousness, somewhere it is will. So we will talk about the will aspect of it. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. So we are basically talking about intelligence. What exactly is intelligence? Now, there's a verse in Bhagavad Gita 3.42, as you can see on the slide. Indriyani paranyahur indriyebhya param mana manasastu para buddhir yo buddhi paratastu saha. What does it mean? The working senses are superior to dull matter. Mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is still higher than the mind. And he, that means the soul, is even higher than the intelligence. So basically, it is telling you that intelligence is the highest. So senses are superior. Superior to senses is the mind. Superior to mind is the intelligence. And on top is the soul, which is even higher than the intelligence. So basically, what is being explained here is that the mind. So how do you differentiate between mind and intelligence? So what happens is the mind is basically relating to experiences, in terms of enjoyment and suffering. Okay. Like, I don't want this because this is causing me suffering, and I want this because it is causing me enjoyment. That is basically how the mind functions. But what does the intelligence do? Intelligence is the discriminating factor. So basically, higher the intelligence will be, higher our destination will be. The way you sharpen a pencil. So the more sharp the pencil is, better sketch you can draw. So similarly, the sharper your intelligence is, more sharp the pencil is, the better sketch you can draw. So more sharp the intelligence is, that's how beautiful the sketch of your life is going to be. Now, how do you sharpen your intelligence? By reading scriptures. So that means your intelligence is now in knowledge. So when the mind is controlled by the intelligence in knowledge, it is the best friend. But if the mind is not controlled by the intelligence which is in knowledge, that means when the mind controls the intelligence, it becomes our worst enemy. Now, as we discussed, we develop this intelligence, God conscious intelligence, by reading scriptures. Now, and as the verse says, that the soul is above all, right? So basically it is senses, then mind and intelligence. Last time we were reading, when we were doing this, we took the example of how intelligence is the father, mind is the mother, and senses are the children. Now, and in that we read that the tip to make your mind and your intelligence and strong is senses is how do you control your senses? You know, that is the whole point of managing the senses in the right direction. That austerity is really required. Then you control your intelligence basically by reading the scriptures. Okay, so once your scriptures are so we did that, you know, so senses are to be controlled through chanting, we did that. Intelligence is to be controlled reading scriptures. Now if the intelligence basically, what does it mean when you read scriptures? When you read scriptures, you sharpen your intelligence in the sense, then you know that you have to engage your senses in the service of the Lord, right? It is very, very important. Because senses, we know, we already read, they act like strong serpents, right? Now, we all try to use intelligence in our life, but the problem is, are we using the intelligence in the right direction to improve our life? So we'll go on to certain examples from the scriptures of people who used their intelligence and improved their life. Can we please go to the next slide? How did Sudama use his intelligence? So there is a history about Sudama. It so happened that once there was a very old woman. She was very poor. So she had not eaten for many days. And it so happened that one day, so she just used to drink water and survive like that. So for 5 days, it so happened. Then on the sixth day, uh, and she used to ask for alms, so nobody was giving her alms. So like that, for 5 days she didn't have anything to eat. But on the sixth day, when she was asking for alms, she did get um she got some chana is chickpeas. Okay, so roasted chickpeas she got. So but it was very, very late in the night by the time she reached her home. So she thought that, you know, the whole day is gone. It's okay, I'll sleep now. She was extremely tired, and she thought, in the morning when I wake up, I'll offer it to the Supreme Lord Vasudev, and then I'm going to enjoy the remnants. So like that, she tied the chickpeas, the roasted chickpeas, in a piece of cloth, and she kept it, and she slept, chanting the holy name. Now it so happened, there were few thieves in that area, and they entered her kutia, her hermitage, just to, they wanted to, obviously they were thieves, so they were trying to steal. They didn't know it was the house of this old woman who was very, very poor. So they were trying to look for stuff in her house, and what they found was this bag of this, potly bag of this roasted chana, and they thought that it had coins in it. So they took that, and they was about to run. That's when she woke up. When she woke up, she saw that these, she started looking for her, and these thieves, they had left. They stole that bag and they left. So when she woke up, she was looking for her chana because she was hungry, and she couldn't find. So she was feeling so helpless that, oh my God, after 5 days, I got something to eat and somebody stole. So she was so hurt. She was so angry that she said a curse that whoever is going to eat the chana that was for me is going to become poor for the rest of his life. So now it so happened that these thieves in the morning, nearby was Sandipani Muni's ashram, and they went and they, in fear of being caught, threw the potli there because they thought it had gold coins. So they threw the bag there and they ran. Now, in the morning, the wife of Sandipani Muni was cleaning the ashram, and she found that potli. She found that, she opened it and she saw it had chana. So at that time, Sudama and Sri Krishna were being sent to the forest to get wood. Now, when they were going, so she, the Guru Mata, Guru Mata gave that potli to them and said that if you feel hungry, you eat this. Now, Sudama was Brahmagyani from the very birth. He saw the potli and he understood the history behind it, and he thought, oh my God, I cannot let Krishna eat this. Krishna is, you know, he is the supreme personality. How can, I mean, if he eats this, that means the entire Srishti is going to become Daridra, poor. I'm not going to let that happen. So it so happened that he chose, to eat that bag of chana all by himself. So that's how he invited the, what do you call it, garibi, the daridrita, that's how he ended up becoming poor in his life. He chose this. So what did he do? He used his intelligence to make sure that he doesn't um, give the chana to the Supreme Lord. And what did he get in return? Bhagavad Prem. That is what he got. Krishna, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, being omnipresent, omniscient, he knew everything. He knew what Sudama was doing. And he was very moved by the very thought that Sudama actually thought like this. It's impossible. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God and the wife of Goddess of Fortune. I mean, his wife is Goddess of Fortune. How can he become poor? But the bhav of Sudama drew him so close to Sudama that he thought, I am going to repay him once in my life. And we know the story of Sudama. Then what happened? So here Sudama used his intelligence to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And what did he get in return? Bhagavad Prem. What else are we? We all are trying to become Krishna conscious so that we get the love of Godhead. And that's how he used his intelligence. Now, there's another story actually of an old woman who, now we can we move on to the next slide, please? So here actually, first let me do this, then I'll come to the negative one. Now, what happened was here we know the story of Surasa. Surasa was the demoness who stopped Hanuman from entering the ocean, to cross the ocean so that he could go to Lanka. Now, what was the boon that was given to Surasa? It was given by the demigods that nobody can cross her area until they go inside her mouth and come out of it. Now, she was in the form of a demoness. How would anybody enter her mouth and come out? So Hanuman knew exactly what to do. So he used his intelligence. He became so small, so tiny. And when she opened her mouth to devour him, he quickly went inside and came out. So he, valued the words of the Devatas also, and at the same time satisfied Surasa also, and then she gave him the way to reach Lanka. So this is again how he used his intelligence for serving the Lord. Why was he wanting to go to Lanka? To look for Mother Sita. So he crossed the ocean just so that he could serve. To cross the ocean, the hurdles that came in between, he used his intelligence to basically make sure that there is no hindrance in serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Can we go to the next slide? Okay, so in this pastime itself again, so this has not happened that this didn't happen only once, that Hanuman uses intelligence in the right direction. We can see that Hanuman here in the picture, he's carrying the together Sanjeevani booty, he got the entire mountain. Now he was not doctor or a vet there. He didn't know how Sanjeevani booty looked like. He went up to the Himalayas and he was looking for that Sanjeevani booty, but he didn't know how the booty looked like. So did he just give up? No, he used his intelligence and he got the entire that part of the mountain which had that booty, so that he could help Lakshman revive his consciousness. So here again he uses intelligence in the right direction to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So can we move to the next slide? Okay, so before we come to this pastime, there's another pastime of an old woman who now we should know how and where to use our intelligence. That is the whole point, right? So basically, she, this old woman was carrying a bundle of sticks on her head. Now, when she was very old, she got tired. It was hot. So she sat there. This old woman, she was carrying the sticks, and then, at a certain point, she sat down and was, "Oh, Krishna, can somebody help me?" Krishna was very moved. He appeared himself and he said, "Oh, really? How can I help you?" That woman, Krishna is right in front of her. What did she ask? "Can you please help me put these sticks back on my head?" Because the sticks had fallen. Now, she could have asked for devotional service. She could have asked for love of Godhead. She could have asked for Krishna himself. Did she use her intelligence in the right direction? No. So she did not use her intelligence in the right direction. Now, we should be using our intelligence in the service of the Lord. Here you can see in the slide, it is Mother Sita, but this pastime is when Mother Sita was very, very, very young. She was not married to Lord Ram then. She was just playing in her courtyard of Maharaj Janak as palace, and there she found two birds in her garden. And these two birds, they were so he being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ram, and she being Mother Sita, they understood the language of the birds. So these birds were talking to each other, and the female bird was pregnant, but she was very, 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 very pretty. So Mother Sita got hold of her and put her in the cage. Now, this male bird and this female bird, they both were pleading to Mother Sita that can you please leave us? And she said that, "Let me deliver my children and I'll come back to you." But Mother Sita was very young, very innocent. She was just drawn by the beauty of the bird, and she didn't want to let go of the birds, that female bird. And she said, "No, no, I don't think I want to let you go," out of her innocence. But when it so happened that she didn't let the female bird out of the cage, the female bird left her body, and the male bird was sitting far behind on a branch, seeing all this, and he started crying and he cursed Mother Sita, "The way I am separated from my beloved while she was expecting, I curse you that when you are expecting, you will also feel the separation from your husband." So it is this reason why she was banished to the forest when she was carrying Lava and Kush. Lord Ram didn't have much to do in all this. It's there described in the Purans. But the point is that here, and this the male bird also said that, "I will be the cause of your ruination." And he actually was the one who came as that washerman who uh, was pinpointing on Mother Sita, and based on his comments, did Lord Ram decide to banish Mother Sita. So the point is that Mother Sita she herself did not use her intelligence just to set an example. Not that she is not intelligent or anything, but all these great personalities. So forget about the great personality. She is the goddess herself. So they use all different ways to teach lessons to people like us. Now, what is the whole point of engaging our intelligence in the service of the Lord? Can we please move to the next slide? Okay. There's a verse in Bhagavad Gita 18:55 which says, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tatvata tato mam tatvato gyatva vishate tat anantaram. So what does it mean? One can understand the Supreme Personality as he is only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. So, the whole point of using the intelligence in the service of the Lord is that only because of bhakti can we understand the Lord as he is. Now, in the Bhagavad Gita, in same Bhagavad Gita, verse 7.25, the Lord is saying, Naham Prakashah Sarvasya. That is, not everybody can know me. So, at one point he's saying that you cannot know me, but then in this verse he's saying that you can know me by bhakti. So what exactly is he saying? So he is basically saying that if you're engaged in devotional service, then you can understand who Krishna is. And who is Krishna? He is inconceivable. So this particular knowledge that Krishna is inconceivable is something that we need to understand, because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No matter how hard we try, we cannot know him in full. He's the absolute. This whole sky up there is so vast. Not a bird can travel from one end to the other end of the sky. Cannot, no, not possible, because it is so vast. Similarly, this is a material energy of the Lord, and we cannot even fathom the depth of this. What about our vastness of this? Then how can we understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead? We cannot. So when we come to this particular intelligence, that we cannot understand Krishna, and we understand that he is the absolute, because he is the absolute, because he is full, we can, in himself, we cannot understand him. That is real intelligence, and that comes only by doing devotional service, as he is saying in this verse. Now, another example of negative intelligence, it's not a negative intelligence, as in, we know Daksh. The whole point is that we know the pastime of Daksh Prajapati, to the extent, now here we can see that Daksh Prajapati has the head of a goat. But the point is, does the intelligence lie in the head part, head region? No. If so be it, then would Daksh be paying obeisances and seeking forgiveness from Lord Shiva with the head of a goat? Once the head is chopped off, the intelligence is gone. That is not the point, because mind, intelligence, and false ego constitute the subtle body. And we learned this last time, that the subtle body stays with us till we reach Kuloka. Every birth that we get the same subtle body. That is why we need to work on the subtle body, because gross body, we are doing so much exercise, diet, or people do all these surgeries just to look beautiful or whatever. But that gross material body will remain here in this material world. What is going to go with us is the spiritual body, the subtle body. So till we get the spiritual body, the subtle body is the carrier, and that is of mind, intelligence, and false ego. It's not that if your head is chopped off, your intelligence is gone. The proof is here. Daksh Prajapati pastime, we see he had the head of a goat, but he understood his mistake, that he had offended Lord Shiva, and he was seeking forgiveness. So mind, intelligence, and false ego really need to be in the right direction for us to get the better state of life in our next birth. So can we move to the next slide? So also another example is that of Sabarimuni. We know Sabarimuni was inside the water doing tapasya for many thousands of years. And then when he saw that Garuda was coming and eating the fish there, he challenged Garuda, that he actually cursed Garuda, that challenged him that if you come here, then I'm going to destroy you. Now, he thought that he's the savior of the fishes because he had become friends with the fishes because he was doing tapasya there in the water. But is it that? Is he the doer? No, he's not. But he thought so. And what happened? That led to his downfall. Why? Because he considered himself to be a protector of the fishes, and in that regard, he ended up being Vaishnava Aparad to the greatest, one of the greatest Vaishnavas like Garuda. Now, Garuda was eating fishes because Krishna, this is the part of creation, Krishna's creation. Fish is the food of vultures, and Garuda coming in that category. That was his, he's not in that category, he's above that category, but that was his natural food. So he wasn't doing anything wrong, but because Sabrimani was so attached to the fishes, so here we see that attachment is an issue also, and also that he thought that he can protect the fishes. No, that was not the point. So that led to his downfall. So we have to understand that we have to use our intelligence in the right direction. So we'll stop here at intelligence and we'll move on to chitta. Does anybody have questions regarding intelligence? All right. So we'll move on to chitta. Now, what is chitta? As we discussed, there are
Mataji, I
different.
have a question.
Yes, tell me, beta.
So in the and by the way, I have two devices for some reason. So what happened was I in the Sita and the bird story, my question is why did Sita want to keep the birds?
She was very attracted. You know how we are when we are kids, we are very attracted to. I remember there was one boy who was very attracted to butterflies, and he would just, because at that age they don't understand that, not that Mother Sita didn't understand, but it was just for us to understand, for it was a lesson for us to learn. But the point is that, out of our, um, if the intelligence is not given the right direction from the very beginning of your life, then you call it innocence or whatever, we do end up doing certain deeds which are not right. So this boy was very attracted to butterflies and he just wanted to collect the butterflies. Now, this was out of his innocence, he was thinking, but still the butterflies were being harmed. No, I mean, you cannot just bind up a human being. Imagine all these people who have pets. This is my one question to them also. I always wonder, how would you feel if you are tied up all day in a cage? Will you like it? No. So any persons or any living entities independence when taken away is causing problem to that living entity. The dharma of the bird is to fly in the open sky. Now, out of her innocence, at that particular time, she was so attracted to the beauty of the bird that she didn't want to let the bird go. This was just for us to understand. And she was setting an example for us that it's not all about our pleasure. She was at that point thinking of Shreyas and not, she was thinking of Prayas and not Shreyas. Prayas is instant satisfaction, present. Shreyas is the long term. So we need to understand this, that not everything is about our own pleasure, and we need to use our intel, we need to discriminate, that discretion should be there. So this was just to set an example. She was very drawn to the beauty of the bird, and the instant pleasure was to possess it, to have it. So that is why, just to set an example for people like us. Okay, so now we move on to chitta. What exactly is chitta? As we discussed, chitta can be mind also at different places. This is one beauty about Sanskrit language. One word has different meanings. Um, Regarding the context it is being used in. So chitta can be used as mind at certain places. You would see yourself as atma at certain places, and sometimes chitta is the consciousness, it is will. We are taking the will a part of it. So what is will? The will is, we're talking about the free will that Krishna gives us. So basically Krishna's will is that he gives us the free will. So without free will, there cannot be possibility of true love. We cannot force, you cannot force somebody to love somebody. No. But when we misuse the free will, then it goes against the will of God. Then by the will of God, we are under the control of laws of karma. So now, basically the point is that the free will is also it is under control of Krishna, but by Krishna's all providing unfathomable greatness within his free will, he has given us that minute will to decide what you want to do every moment, and you are responsible for the decision. Like, we know that we are supposed, that is, we know that Jivera Swarup hai Krishna Nityadas. Now Krishna has given us the free will to choose to be serving him or not. Now it doesn't change the fact that we are his eternal servant. That is, there is no doubt about it. That is our original constitution. But are we accepting and working in that direction? Are we using our free will, or are we trying to be the master, or we are trying to deny the presence of the Lord in our life? So basically it is a very big illusion. And that way we can cheat either ourselves or we can cheat others. Like, if we think that whatever I want is God's will. Many people say that you want some, like, I was listening to this wonderful class by His Holiness Radha Govind Swami Maharaj, and he was saying that when you ask people to chant or do devotional service, their response is, "We will do when Krishna wants us to do." So it is so amazing that this is something that they are not ready to take up to, and they are blaming the Supreme Lord for it. So they think that whatever I want is God. Abhi tak, nahi, so far I'm not doing it because Krishna didn't want me to do it. It doesn't work like that. Krishna is giving us the free will to decide for our own selves what is right and what is wrong. But are we doing that? No, we are not doing that. Because if we go by God's will, then what exactly is God's will? Bhagavad Gita says God's will is Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. Are we doing that? No, we are not doing that. So our free will is under the control of Krishna. But uh, our free will is under the control of Krishna, but under Krishna's control. So he gives us the free will. He gives us the independence basically to love him or hate him, to follow him or deny him. So we have that free will. Okay. So the to the degree we surrender to Krishna, to that degree we utilize our free will. Okay. Now can we move to the next slide? The example, wonderful example of this is Jai and Vijay. We know Jai and Vijay were the two gatekeepers, and they were cursed by the four Kumaras to be born in the material world because they were stopping Jai and Vijay were stopping the four Kumaras to enter the seventh gate, after which they would have entered the Vaikuntha Lok. Okay, now they could have, and then the Lord came. We know the whole pastime. The Lord came, and then the Lord uh, told the four Kumaras that, is there a way they can come back? I am not going to interfere with your curse. That's fine, let them go there. But is there a way they can come back? And that's when the choice was given to Jai and Vijay, that they either take three births as demons, or 7 births as devotees. But the condition in that was that as 3 births, they would be killed by the Lord themselves. They'll be delivered by the Lord themselves. Now, they could have very well chosen the 7 births as devotees, because as devotees, what would they would have had to do? Nothing. They would have had to just chant Hare Krishna and be happy, follow the 4 regulative principles, do devotional service, and life would have been beautiful. They would have even got the respect and love from others. But what did they choose? They chose to be 3 demons for 3 lives, and to that too, demons of what caliber, who were capable of fighting with the Lord. And for now, this happened when, and we still in Kali Yuga are talking about it, right? And we will keep talking about it, because now there's one point where, there's one point where you become that famous, but they were not famous. They were defamed for being demons, for fighting against the Lord, fighting with the Lord. But they chose that. Why? Because they knew that if they take 3 births, 3 births will pass on in much less time than 7 births. And they used their free will to choose the less duration of separation from the Lord. So this is where they actually they used and not misused their free will. So can we move to the next slide? So these were the 3 birds, Hiranyaksh and Hiranyakashipu. Next. Ravana and Kumbhakarna. Next. And Shishupal and Dantavakra. So these were the 3 birds that they chose using their free will. They could have imagined, if you're born as a devotee, then so much respect and love you get. What did they get? They were the target of everyone's hatred when it came to devotees. Nobody liked them. Everybody was scared of them. But that's what they chose, because for them, separation period they had to lessen the separation period, and that's exactly what happened. Then next, please. Another pastime which talks about the free will is that of Kamsa. So we know Kamsa, he heard the prophecy where he was told that the 8th child of his sister is going to be the cause of his downfall and his death, right? Now, he could have easily chosen. Now, he was the one who was taking his sister to her in-laws' place, right? But he chose to, at that particular moment also, he chose to be very harsh with his own sister. He did not take back. He misusing his free will. He did not take her to her in-laws place. He in fact put them in the jail. And the prophecy did say, the prophecy was that 8th child is going to kill him, but he chose to.
Mataji,
Hmm?
I'm sorry to interrupt, but there is this person named who just Mahit who copied my name and just now left, and he called me a cat again as last time. Mataji said she would stop the naming option, but she still didn't do that yet.
Okay, I will tell her, and it's okay. She'll take care of it. Okay, don't worry about it. Mehika, can you
Okay,
make sure that doesn't happen next? Yeah?
Mataji, I disabled the option.
Okay, she did. Okay.
thank you.
Okay. So now getting back to the story. Um, so Kamsa, he misused his free will, and he knew that the 8th child was the one that was going to cause harm to him, but he chose to kill the first six, and then the seventh was disappeared. The seventh disappeared, and then it was eight. That was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he could have actually used his free will to spare at least the first six children, but no. So just because you can, you will is not good, right? Because you can, you will do it. No, that's not good. You should still keep the discretion. And here, it is being very clearly, it was that's what comes a thought that might is all right. So just because he had the power, he had it in his power to be harmful, he thought he had every possible right to do it. But is that the right thing to do? No. So can we move? Is this the last slide, or is this one more slide? Yeah, so this is the last one. So the point is that we need to use our free will, not misuse our free will. Can we go to the first slide, please? So, first, the very first slide. So, the point is that all these 10 vices which we have done, that with the head of Ravana, beta. So the takeaway for us from this whole summer classes that we did about the 10 things that we should not let go into our head is that we have to work very diligently, very seriously to make sure that we can stay away from all these. We've done all calm, krodh, lobh, moh, mad, matsarya, ahankar, manas, buddhi, and chit. So it is lust, anger, greed, delusion or attachment, pride or arrogance, jealousy, ego, mind, intellect, intelligence, and will. That is free will. So we need to make sure that we take the right decisions in our life. And these are the things that we need to stay away from. They will lead to our degradation. And if used in the right direction for the service of the Lord, the verse that we did, 18.55, where Krishna is saying, only by devotional service can we know Him. So that is what is going to happen if we use these vices also in the service of the Lord, at which we have discussed so far. So, anybody has any questions regarding any of this? Was it? I can't hear you. Can you please repeat?
I have a question.
Yes, tell me.
So my question is, when Sobari Muni cursed Garuda, was it in the Yamuna River? Because Kalia came to the Yamuna River.
Yes.
Okay.
So, was this whole session helpful?
Mataji, I have a question.
Yes, tell me.
In the foot of Jai and Vijay, were those four kids the four Kumaras?
Yes, beta, the four Kumaras.
Okay. And who are the four Kumaras?
They are the sons of Brahma.
Oh.
So, I am hoping that this session was helpful for you all, and please try to apply all these, stay away from these vices. And if we do have, which we all have to a great extent, we need to use them in the service of the Lord. Okay? So we'll end here, and then I'll see you next time.
Thank
Okay?
you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mata.